Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, sir, for the introduction and giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge on Internet of Things. Once again, hello, everybody. We'll start this session, Internet of Things and Application Perspective. So what are we going to discuss today is, first we'll discuss what is Internet of Things, and then I'll be talking about some applications where we use IoT, and then the building components of IoT, then supporting technologies, why really IoT has grown this much. There are a few technologies which help the growth of IoT. So that is what I'll be covering in that area. Then does IoT help during this pandemic situation? Yes, it is. So such solutions will be discussed under the topic, and then challenges in IoT and how can we start a journey on IoT. So this is the agenda for today. So what is Internet of Things? So first let's take the word things. So things means anything, may it be a watch, your glass, or your washing machine, your TV, your car. So all the things we are going to connect it to the internet and for a purpose. So what could be the purpose? The purpose may be you want to make your home intelligent, you want to make your transport intelligent, maybe your shopping, healthcare, industry, banking, building, education, cooking. So you want to make everything smart. We are going to connect very small things to large things that we see around us. So for example, can we connect our glass that we are wearing? Yes, you can. Can you connect your fridge? Yes, you can. This is what is the power of Internet of Things. So we'll discuss some applications of Internet of Things so that we can understand everything better. So this is the definition I've given. So Internet of Things is interrelating devices, may it be a mechanical device or a digital device, you're going to interrelate it. And what is the condition? It must be connected with an address. And also it must be connected to a connecting device so that it has a capability of transferring the data. So this is a definition for Internet of Things. So moving on to the applications of Internet of Things, I would like to first talk about the smart home automation system. So in the smart home automation system, how can Internet of Things help us is, for example, you're coming from the office and as you reach the gate, the IoT sensor senses your presence, maybe the image is matched, and immediately the garage opens for your car. So nobody comes and open, or you need not get out of the car, open the garage for it, but instead the garage itself automatically opens. Now, as you go inside, you want to refresh yourself. So the sensors near your door senses that you are in, automatically the heater is on. Maybe your oven can be switched on. As you enter the home, your lights can be switched on. So all these comes under the smart home automation system. So well-known application is the Amazon Alexa. Most of you would have heard of this Amazon Alexa, where it is a very small device. As you see here in this photograph, it obeys all our commands. So you just have to say, Alexa, switch on the light. So immediately it automatically switch on the light. Not only that, you can even say, Alexa, switch on the TV, Alexa, switch on the music player. So how it works is, as you give the voice to the machine, this device is connected to the internet, and the recorded voice goes to the cloud, that is the Amazon cloud, and the cloud automatically recognizes what you're speaking and it gives control to the device. Maybe you're saying, Alexa, switch on the music. Immediately the recorded voice goes to the Amazon cloud, and then the Amazon cloud gives the command to the music player saying that switch on the music player. So what else can be done with Amazon Alexa is, they have tied up with Philip so that the ambience of the room can be controlled based on your mood. Suppose you are really in a sleepy mood, you don't want a very big flashlight in your room. So immediately the Alexa can say, you can tell to the Alexa, Alexa, please switch on the bulbs to the sleepy mood. So immediately the room light get dim. Not only that, you can even control your outdoor camera and light. During the evening time, you don't want to go out to switch on your light because it is so chill outside. You can say, Alexa, switch on my porch light. Immediately it is done. And also you can control your fan, your AC. All those can be controlled using the Amazon Alexa. This is an example of a smart home automation system. So next we will discuss about the smart transportation system. So transportation, IoT has given its full support to the transportation system and it has made it smart. So what the companies have thought is maybe a carrier company which carries goods from one place to the other place. They felt a high productivity by introducing IoT into their vehicles. Earlier, the movement of the vehicle cannot be tracked. What the driver says is what the manager has to believe. But now, using a GPS controller fixed to the car, the manager can monitor which all the routes the car moves, and even you can even check out what is the fuel, where he stops, how many minutes he stops. For example, he can also fix a weight sensor in the, for example, I'm carrying goods from one place to the other place. So I can fix a weight sensor. Suppose there is a theft that is going on in my truck, it can be automatically detected. The weight get reduced and you can say that somebody is removing a parcel from the car. So that is what is the smart transportation, IoT in smart transportation. One is geofencing. Geofencing is nothing but it avoids accidents. Suppose somebody is approaching your vehicle so close, immediately it alerts the driver so that the driver can be stable, knowing that somebody is coming very near to his vehicle. And also the pressure sensor can be fixed to the transportation vehicle so that the pressure is properly maintained, route optimization. So all these are IoT applications in smart transportation. So this is a very good example where automation is introduced into the cars now. So radar sensor, ultrasonic sensors, cameras fixed in. So all these monitor your car 360, and also people are talking about autonomous vehicle. So earlier the driver will be inside and anytime the driver want to switch to autonomous mode, immediately you can switch it to the autonomous mode. But now people are thinking about 100% autonomous vehicle where the driver is not inside, but the car has to operate by itself. So IoT sensors and actuators helps it to a lot. And the next application that we are going to discuss is about the smart shopping. Okay, so the one of the challenge that we face in shopping is as we enter the supermarket, it is not customized for the customers. So one shopping mall will have all the components arranged in one way. The other shopping mall will have all the components arranged in the other way. And also one more challenge is standing in the very big queue of billing. So this is the biggest challenge in the shopping section. So now we have smart trolleys. You can even refer this websites for the smart trolleys. So smart trolleys know where the components are arranged. So the only thing is using a mobile app, you have to feed in your list, your shopping list. Immediately the trolley do the shopping for you. All you have to do is just relax, go around the shopping mall. And once the shopping is done, an alert comes to your mobile app that your trolley is waiting in the billing counter. So, and in the billing counter, the smart card immediately checks the shopping trolley and makes the payment, everything for you. And the trolley is ready outside after completing the shopping and also the billing. So this is one IoT application where sensors and actuators helps you to make smart shopping. Not only that, Samsung has a new family hub refrigerator where the refrigerator automatically tells what all the components that is really not there in the refrigerator, and immediately at the end of the week the shopping list itself is ready for you to shop. So this is the application of IoT in smart shopping. And the next one is a very important section, healthcare. So this is one of the trending technology where IoT enables the people or save the people in terms of emergency or any other adverse situation. Now coming here, suppose you feel that a person is having immediately he's on an emergency. So what you can do is, you would have seen this video in YouTube, a drone automatically comes sensing that he has fallen down. How the drone knows that that person has fallen down is this person has body sensors. So the body sensors automatically checks out that I'm not in an upright position. I'm in a position or lying down for so much of time. And also my body pressure is not normal, my blood pressure is not normal, and my pulse is also coming down. So all these can be checked by means of on-body sensors, and immediately it connects to the internet, and it gives a message to the hospital. So the hospital can immediately send an ambulance, or it can even send a doctor inside the ambulance. So this is how the IoT sensors, actuators, or Internet of Things as a whole has revolutionized the healthcare system. So earlier, nowadays, you would have seen even in the pandemic situation, robots are used in the hospitals to give the medicines for the COVID patients. The robots really help the doctors so much. So this is one area, or this is how the healthcare has been changed by means of the Internet of Things. So all of us know the Fitband, or many of us would have hold this Fitband also. So what the Fitband do is it automatically checks how much hours I've gone for a walking or a workout. I've done a workout. What about my pulse? What about my temperature? Everything is monitored and it is reported to the doctor, and the doctor can advise you, yes, you are going on the right track, or you have to do this much of workout, your blood pressure is not normal, your sugar level is not normal. All those advice can be given by the doctor on remote. You need not go and visit the hospital every time, but the doctor can visit you in a remote location, or from a remote monitoring system. And one more thing is electronic chip that is embedded into a skin, which really monitors your movement. So that is what you are seeing in the second picture. So all these can be incorporated, and even it can draw an analysis on what about you for a month. So in a month, day one, this is your activity and this is your weight. This is what you have input that you have taken. This is how many hours you have slept. All those analysis can be drawn through this smart healthcare system. And the next one is really the very interesting one, smart industry. You would have seen even there is a topic called industrial IoT. So there are four industrial revolutions where in 1.0 you have only machines, and 2.0 people are thinking about mass productions, and 3.0 where automation is introduced by means of computers and IT system and robotics, and 4.0 people are thinking about smart factories. So there is automation. So why can't I introduce few sensors into this automation, or I can introduce some machine learning concepts. I can give you one good example where there is a factory where there is a conveyor belt which conveys foods into from one location to the other location. Now what happened is the conveyor belt get heated up, and because of that, that particular machine is worn out. So once if the machine is worn out, the factory has to be shut down for at least half a day for the belt to be recovered. We have to replace the belt. So what happened here is they fixed a small temperature sensing sensor near the conveyor belt. Now what happened? As the conveyor belt is operational, they saw that the temperature is rising. So now, according to the temperature level, the input is fed into the conveyor belt. So this improves the lives of the conveyor belt, and also we can do some schedule maintenance also. Instead of coming an abrupt failure, you can have a schedule maintenance in this case. This is what one good example how IoT has changed the industry. Not only this, in a very large scale, here you can see in the pictures, the health of the machine is monitored. How many products it has delivered, it is monitored. So all those things are monitored by means of IoT. Next one is the smart building. You would have observed at least one or two of these applications when you're going to a shop. Maybe when you are entering into a mall, the door automatically opens for you. It is because of the ultrasonic sensors that is attached there. It automatically senses that you are in. And once you are in, the sensors open the door for you. And also a very good example is the fire alarm, where the fire alarm sense if there is a fire, and automatically it rings an alarm. So the point here is I would like to talk about the Cisco digital ceiling. So this is one of the building which they have implemented the digital ceiling concept. And even we have witnessed the digital ceiling concept when we visited the Cisco Systems Bangalore. The bulbs are equipped so that it knows who are the people inside. For example, there is a corridor. As we walk in the corridor, the lights are so dim in front of us because nobody is there. So as we walk on the corridors, the lights get brighten up. So this saves so much of energy. And also number two is, even when you start from home, you can set up what should be the theme of the presentation, or what should be the theme of the laptop that is going to be there in your workspace. Whether your ceiling should be on or off, whether your AC should be on or off, whether the light should be on or off. And as you come and stand in front of your office space and swipe the card, immediately the door opens and the room is ready for you. This is how the smart building structures are built up. It is done for security, fire safety, lighting, so and so. Now, what happens here is there is one more concept that is implemented in Reliance Office, where most of the cases in our office, as we go in, we have to punch. So now they have removed all the punching machines and they have put face recognition. As you go in, the face recognition is done. You have to stand in front of a machine, the face recognition is done, and it permits you inside, or it marks the attendance of the day for you. But now in Reliance Office, nothing like that. You need not wait in front of a face recognition machine, no long queues. As the employees walk inside the room, their attendance is marked by a smart face recognition system. So this is one smart building application of IoT. And yes, the very important application is the smart farming. So agriculture is the backbone of a country. And there are many places where agriculture really, with food, they produce food for us. Now, even the farming agriculture is made so smart with the help of IoT. So the machineries has been changed. No traditional tractors. The tractors were set with precision, how to plow, how to seed, how to remove the weed. Everything is done by the automated farm machines. And now no more people going to the farm for spraying fertilizers. Just the drone, it checks out which is the exact place where the fertilizer has to be spilled off, and then it spray the fertilizer. And also at the end of the day, you get analysis on your report on your phone. What is the temperature throughout the day? What about the humidity of the soil? What about the growth of the crops? All these statistics can be viewed. And even for harvesting, the machines are used. They harvest the fruits. And the very important is the next generation scarecrow. No need to install a scarecrow. There are drones with cameras which could understand who are intruding into your farm. Is there any animals coming inside your farm? All those can be monitored using the IoT in smart farm application. And yes, for the housewives, it's a good news that we have smart cooking also. There is the knob. So it's a voice controlled. Yes, it is again integrated with Alexa. You could see in the figure. And you say to Alexa, Alexa, switch on my stove. The stove is on. And also it gives you what temperature your stove should be set. Everything can be set by means of this application. Smart cooking. There are also utensils where you give the ingredients and the particular menu is ready for you. Suppose you say cook sambar, the end of the day, the sambar is ready. All these have come with the advent of IoT. Now, so far we see many applications in the very critical areas of our future, of our day-to-day life. Now we are going to discuss about the building blocks of IoT. Suppose you want to venture into the IoT, what all the building blocks really you have to concentrate on so that you venture into the field of IoT. Number one is the sensors. Number two is the actuators. Number three is the controllers and also the shields. Let's discuss one by one. Sensors. So sensors are the basic building block of IoT. So these sensors check out for changes in the environment where it has been installed and immediately it responds to the controller. So you could see that ultrasonic sensor here, which measures the distance, and the gas sensors, color sensors, and PIR sensor, which check out the presence of a particular person inside the room or not, accelerometer, then potentiometer, IR sensor, rain sensor, which is used in the agricultural field, and thermistor, temperature sensor. So all these are the different type of sensors. The smartphone that we use has many sensors, we all know. So the accelerometer sensor, we have many apps installed in our smartphone. We go for walking, it automatically measures with what speed you go, how many distance you go, or what is the temperature. Once you hold that particular smartphone, what is your actual temperature. Now the sensor automatically sense what is the ambience outside. The brightness of the screen is automatically adjust based on the ambience outside. So all these sensors are the basic building blocks. Number two is the actuators. So actuators is the motors, maximum motors are used and relays are used. Suppose you say you want to switch on your TV. You forgot to switch off your TV as you go to your workplace. From there, you want to switch off your TV. In that case, you need a relay really to do that. Your controller has to be connected to the relay. So this is how the actuators are actually the output points. Sensors are the input points which get sense the medium, and actuators are the output points. So based on the sensing, it will give the sensed data to the controller, and based on the sensed data, the actuators are controlled. So whether you want to switch on a motor, so a very good example is in the field of agriculture. Suppose there is a soil moisture sensor which measures the moisture of the soil. So moisture of the soil goes down, immediately it gives the data to the controller. The controller check out for the moisture of the soil, and once it comes below the threshold, it automatically control to the motor so that the motor is on and the water comes in. So this is a use of an actuator. And the next very good building block is a controller. There are a variety of controllers available in the markets. Okay, so starting from Arduino is a beginner controller. If suppose you start your journey on internet, you can start with Arduino, very easy to learn Arduino board, and then you have the Node MCU board, then you have the Raspberry Pi board. Now to incorporate artificial intelligence, machine learning, you need high processing unit. So we have something called from NVIDIA, we have the Jetson processor. This Jetson Nano, where you can connect sensors, you can even incorporate machine learning algorithms, and you can process the sensed data. All those can be done by means of the controllers. And the next one is the shield. And why do we need this shield is, many times when we go for a controller, the number of points where we connect the sensors are a minimum. Number one, it may be minimum. You will not be able to connect these many sensors to a controller board. Number one. Number two is, when you connect certain sensors, you need drivers. For example, when you are connecting ECG sensor, you need drivers to do that. So for every sensors, you have to connect different drivers, which really increases the size of your circuit. So what we do is we just go for shield. It will be better. I'll show you in the next diagram where this is a shield. So in this shield, you can connect all the sensors that we saw in the previous slide, and immediately you can make a handy device like this. You can see that he's wearing a one single belt, which this single belt measures everything. So he's connected to ECG, he's connected to snort sensor or airflow sensor, what is his breathing capacity. Even you can connect it to as a headset, you can connect it to your brain to measure the brain signal. Suppose a person is on the bed, and you can have this one single unit connected to him, monitoring all these details. All these monitored details can be communicated through Wi-Fi to the doctor's dashboard. So doctor need not visit the patient. The doctor can sit in his room and monitor the patient. And once if there is any abnormality, an alert can be generated. And when there is an abnormality, he can rush to the patient's room. And that is one shield, using a shield. And here also you can see that it's for a baby. For a baby, you cannot connect these many wires. And it's a small single device. So wearable technology using IoT is top 10. It's one of the topic in top 10 trending technology. So anybody who wishes to do your research or your project, you can think of wearable technology. It's the need of a society now. So now next we'll see about the protocols. So we saw about the hardware devices that is required. Now coming to the protocols. So protocols is how the message has to be transmitted. I told you that sensors send the message to controllers. Controllers communicates to through the internet. It communicates to the actuators. So now that's okay, but how is that communicating? So the traditional HTTP protocol that is used by web can be used, but of course that consumes more power. You all see these are all very tiny devices. So many a times these tiny devices cannot be connected in a wire. Okay, so you cannot connect it to the power all the time. So you have to put it in remote. So for example, your wearable technology that you wear in your, as a belt. So now the belt cannot be connected on wires all the time. You have to walk here and there. And it is of course, it operates on battery and the power is very limited. So the protocols that is designed should mainly concentrate on power efficient or energy efficient data transmission. So that is what we have: constrained application protocol, message queue telemetry transport protocol, advanced message queuing protocol, data distribution services. And for communication purpose, we have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. If suppose you say it's within a room, you can go for Bluetooth. It's within a building, you can go for Wi-Fi. Or suppose you want to do it remote. As I told you, you want to control your home appliances from the office. So you have booked a plumber to repair your pipes, and the plumber has arrived at the doorsteps and you are in the office. Now, how do you really handle? Many a times we have to run from the office to the home to open, to check first whether he's a plumber, and number two is you have to open the door. So that can be avoided with Internet of Things. A small camera on your door can just take a pic, or there can be a small keyboard even attached to your door, and the key password that is shared between you and the plumber service office can be typed in there. And with his face and the key, he is authenticated. And once he is authenticated by you remotely, he can be permitted in. So this is one application. In such cases, the communication protocol has to be really cellular devices, cellular network. It cannot be Bluetooth or Wi-Fi because you may be remote somewhere else. Then the connectivity protocol is something that is used for routing. In many cases, your data has to be routed from one place to the other. For example, let's take a car, connected cars. There may be 10 cars, and you want to pass a message from the first car to the 10th car. Maybe the 10th car is many kilometers away from you. Of course, you have to relay the message. You cannot transmit from here to there. So you can use cellular technology, but in this ad hoc network, you can rely on these connectivity based protocols. Now, you may wonder that why this IoT has come into a trend this so much. Really, there are supporting technologies to do it. Cloud computing is one such technology. So what is cloud computing actually is, suppose let me explain with an analogy. You're going to Coimbatore in your car and you want to park the car. And you won't really go to Coimbatore. You say, yes, every time I go to Coimbatore, so let me build a small parking lot there itself, or parking garage there itself. Usually we won't say that. We have a parking area, maybe a municipal parking area. It's a public area. So you can go in, park your car, and pay for the hours you park the car. So this is what is the public cloud is. Similar to this parking space, the cloud is. What is actually cloud? There are enormous amount of service. Say your sensor generates TB size of data per month. In a month, it generates so much of data. Can we just store all those data in your laptop? It's not possible. Even in your mobile phone, it's not possible. Even you may have a small server for your IoT applications, but it can measure or store the data of a year, but not for years together for doing some meaningful analysis. In such cases, you can go for cloud computing servers. So there are pool of servers as you see here in this picture. So now the data, you can push it to the cloud. So somebody else maintains that server for you. Your data can be pushed in there. So the cloud is relied upon for storage, computation, and connectivity. So many cases, what happens is your data has to be computed. For example, weather prediction. So they just take today temperature, pressure, all those air, wind, all those details they'll take, and they'll also take 1 month of data, 1 week of data, 1 month of data, and they have to really do an statistical analysis on those data to understand what will be the weather for the next 1 week or next 1 month. So in such cases, you have to do a computation. So yes, your laptop can do it many times, but not all the time. When your data is really huge and your algorithm cannot withstand that. So in such cases, the cloud computing server will do it for you. So there are many clouds available. To name is Google, Amazon, IBM. Okay, there are many clouds available for computation purpose. And next one is the connectivity. Of course, your cellular network does that, but you can even use your connectivity. You can put your files there in your home location. You can put the files there. You go to any other country, you want to take that data, you can access your cloud to take that data. So this is what is the cloud computing technology, which really supports IoT's growth. And the next one is the fog computing, where the fog computing is something which is very near to you. Suppose an analogy again is your car is really dirty and you want to go do a car wash. And now there is also a mechanic shop which is available near your home who does fantastic. They are available all the time to do that car wash. Now, and again, you have your own company in Coimbatore also to do that. But you will never go to your Coimbatore every time. You will never drive to Coimbatore to do a car wash. You always select the nearby mechanic shop to do it because car wash is not a very critical application for you. So this is what is a fog computing also. Now, for example, for few applications or few computational purpose, every time when you push the data to the cloud, of course, the cloud, there is a small delay in getting your output. It is just not suitable for real-time applications. So now what we are going to do is we are going to rely on the computing services which is very closely available. The computing services may be somebody else's smartphone, it can be your connected cars, it can be your laptops. So for a small computation, we can rely on the fog nodes instead of going till the cloud and coming back. So now you have fast decision making, reduced cost, and uninterrupted connectivity. And this is one such example. We all know Waymo. It's working. It's a company which is working on automated cars, driverless car. They are doing tests on it. And now here is a car example where this car wants to communicate to the first car, and it need not push the data to the cloud and then from the cloud to the third car. Now what it does is it uses the yellow color car as the relay node. So it sends the data to this yellow color car, and the yellow color car conveys the message to this car, which is really beyond the connectivity of this car. Instead of your data going till the cloud, here the yellow color car behaves as a fog node. And very important technology that helps with IoT is the data analytics. So big data. Of course, your IoT generates big data. It generates voluminous data. It generates data with high velocity. Suppose you are connecting a sensor to your home and you monitor the temperature of your home. Really, it generates so much of data. It generates so much of data for a day. And also variety of data. It varies from the structured data like time of the day, temperature of the room, data like this, to unstructured data, maybe a chat or maybe your Twitter tweets. So all those come under the unstructured data. Multimedia data, for example, your face recognition system, it shows your face. So all these are, it has variety of data, and also the data, uncertain data many a time. For example, you connect a sensor. So from morning till the afternoon, it sends it well. Maybe because of some overheating or because of some electrical interference, it may not give you the data for 30 minutes. In such cases, you have inconsistent data, which really you have to consider. So the data analytics and the data analysis platform has given you empty number of opportunities to bring meaningful insight from the data that is collected by IoT. A smart farm applications, suppose you can monitor what is the height of the plant per day or what is the height of the plant per month. You have tested the plants using new fertilizers. In that case, is really you can and do an analysis whether the fertilizer has worked on well, or you introduce a new room, new ambience for the plants to grow. You can really check out whether this ambience in the room work out well for these plants. The next one is the retail market. So of course, the retail markets are doing so much with this data analytics. It measures the head count that is coming inside the particular market. So what is the demand per day? How many people have come inside that particular market? What is the data that has a higher demand for the day? So all these has been done using data analytics, and IoT supplies the data for them. That is what is the supporting technologies does. And the very important is the artificial intelligence. Now, this is the hash one trending technology in the market, in the IT market. So what is artificial intelligence? Many people say artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. Now, what about artificial intelligence? It just makes the machine to behave like a human. So as we move, how we see, for example, artificial intelligence try to address many societal needs. It even gives an artificial eye for a blind person to recognize the objects around him. So how our brain does it, the similar way artificial intelligence can be done. So now IoT is the main building block of artificial intelligence. IoT sensors are actually used. So based on the output from the sensors, the data are analyzed and the artificial intelligence works. So machine learning is one subset of artificial intelligence where many statistical mathematical methods are used to improve the experience of the machine. And deep learning, of course, is a subset of machine learning. You use the neural network. Instead of having limited layers, you have multiple layers, so that the deep learning can be, the learning can be improved and more accurate results can be obtained. So artificial intelligence is one supporting technology. The data that is collected by IoT is stored and processed by means of cloud computing. The data that we collect by means of IoT is stored and processed by means of fog computing for real-time applications and for applications that need quick response. And also the data that we collect from IoT is processed for data analysis. Business, really they do data analysis and they flourish their business like anything else. And then the artificial intelligence, of course, they analyze the data of IoT and they improvise the system better. That is what is the artificial intelligence supporting technology. Here is one example where AI and IoT based food quality checking. So this is a dates factory. This is the pictures that I've taken from a dates factory. So as the dates come inside the conveyor belt, using image processing algorithm. So image processing algorithm, you know, there are many machine learning based image processing algorithm. So those image processing algorithms help to understand the quality of the dates, whether the dates is really good, the quality and the size of the dates. If the date size is so small, it's directly rejected. So now it comes to the next phase where there is an optical sensor. So the optical sensor measures the moisture level of the date. So in order to have a proper packing, there should be a particular moisture level in the dates. So if the moisture level is too high, it's rejected by means of the optical sensor. You could see every date is subjected to a sensor, and also there is a small motor. The sensor senses the moisture level. It is not up to the mark. Immediately the motor is activated. It is pushed out. So this is how the AI and IoT helps for food quality checking. And the last phase is where you have the machine, and this is a weighing machine. Of course, your package should be of particular weight, and many times it is not so due to various reasons. So the weighing machine automatically weigh it, and if suppose the product is not of particular weight, again it is rejected at that level. So this is all the automations and based on sensors, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analysis, all these food quality checking is incorporated on applications of AI and IoT. So let me talk about our research. This is smart farming. We did a research on this, and the results of this particular research is published in international journal, Journal of Future Generation System. And in this research, what we did is the first module of this research has sensors. So the first sensor is the soil moisture sensor. And the second sensor is a temperature sensor. And the third sensor we used is the IR sensor and pH sensor, and then the motion detection camera. So the motion detection camera checks out for any intruders inside the farm. Suppose you have any unauthorized intruders into the farm, the motion detector sensor or the motion detection camera capture it, and immediately it sends to the controller. The controller matches that particular person's face with the existing face. So we have a list of authorized person images, and if that doesn't matches, immediately an alert message is generated to the user's mobile phone. So maybe a farmer's mobile phone. Similarly, the soil moisture sensor and the temperature sensor sensors the form, and when the soil moisture level is really low, it automatically comes to the controller, and the controller helps to activate the water pump. The water pump, the water sprinkler is just sprinkled. Suppose the temperature sensor says the temperature of the day is fine. The sprinkler is not activated, but it is too hot and the moisture is also maintained, but it's too hot. Immediately the sprinkler is activated and it sprinkles. So this is how it works. In addition to that, all the data from the sensor is also connected to the cloud, and using it was connected to a private cloud that we had, and using the Hadoop cluster, the analysis is being done. And these are the different, and the temperature, humidity and moisture sensor, we did predictive analytics on the weather condition. What will be the weather condition? What about the amount of water that is required? And then IoT and IR sensors, using the camera sensor, as I told you, we were recognizing the intruders, and using the IR sensor, we just recognize the growth of the plant also. So whether the plant has grown to the required level, if not to the required level, what is actually required, whether the pH sensor is correct, pH value of the soil is correct. So all these analysis is made on this research work. And then IoT solutions in pandemic. Does IoT helps during this pandemic situation? Yes, it does. So a well-known kit is the Labellium kit, where the Labellium offers all-in-one solution. You can connect all sensors to the Labellium kit. It is like controller plus a shield. So now what it has is, they have changed a small container into a small room, where as you come here, it checks the thermal, it does a thermal scanning of yourself. If they feel that the temperature is really high, this container is placed in front of the office, and if they feel that the temperature is really high, they just does not open the door. The office will not open for you. And once again, the intimation also goes to the manager, where the manager can check out that this person with the high temperature has come in, so he can report to the higher authorities, report to the hospitals, and so on. And also, this is a hand disinfection machine, where you insert your hand makes you germs free. And also shoes disinfection, so as you walk on the corridors, your shoes are cleaned. So this is one of the solution for this pandemic situation. And one more is the proximity registration. We know that the government is insisting on maintaining social distancing. Suppose if the particular in an office, we are prone to have a talks, chit chats with our colleagues. So if suppose they are not maintaining social distancing, maybe in a crowded environment, in a mall, immediately an alert is generated. And also the data is also stored in the cloud for future analysis. And one more thing is the quarantine monitoring. People who are on quarantine, many times the doctors is not able to go near them to check it, because they are also prone to that infection. So what they can do is they can just fit a small band which measures the temperature, pressure, air breathing. Everything can be checked out by a single band. The pulse, so whether they are moving, so if they are moving, where are they moving? They're using the GPS location, where are they moving? So all these can be monitored using a single band, and immediately what happens is, if really there is an abnormality, it is given to the doctors. And then this is once again a technology where proximity trace, it is incorporated in the cap, and when the worker doesn't follow the social distancing, immediately it alerts the workers that the manager that he's actually doing this. And one more thing is the drone. We all would have witnessed this in the news channel, where a drone is used for checking out, enforcing the lockdown properly. So people who are playing cricket were caught on the drones, and we have seen that scenes. So even it can be used for delivering medical equipments from one hospital to the other hospital, medical equipments to the quarantine patient at home. You can also even use this drones for disinfectant spraying. Many times we may not be able to go in. In that cases, we can use the drones, and even you can use drones for communication purpose. And all these are IoT solutions in pandemic. So I would like to show you few solutions that was given by our university faculty members. The first thing that you will be seeing is a automated disinfectant spraying machine. And also this machine, suppose if it comes very close to you, it gives you a voice that maintain social distancing, maintain social distancing. So I'll play this video for you. You can see it. Yeah, here the audio, there is a speaker, built-in speaker, which gives you maintain social distancing, you are supposed to move out, and all those things, all those stuff. And it, okay, so this is a simple automatic bin. You need not touch the bin opens as you move near. So there is an ultrasonic sensor which is fixed over here, and small servo motor. So IoT is very simple than what we think many a times. IoT is very simple, simple to start. As a beginner, we need not panic. How do I start with IoT? All these controller kits, sensors, motors are available on very low cost in the market. So at the end, I'll show you a few links where you can start your journey on IoT. So this is one product where automated sanitizer machine. As you bring your hand near it, it flows the sanitizer for you. So once you take your hand, it stops. So all these involves a very low cost sensor, ultrasonic sensor, a controller board, and a motor that is inside the sanitizer. So all these are the pandemic solutions developed by our faculty members. Even you can think of pandemic solutions like this. You can brainstorm with your friends. Maybe if you are from a CSE background, you need not panic. How really I'll work with this electronic components. You can, it was so easy, and you can even join in hands with your friends in ECE and start your journey on IoT. I'll tell you, it was very interesting. Not only it will give you a job in the market, but it also gives you really a future scope for to become an entrepreneur. I've seen many students who really interested in IoT now. They are entrepreneurs. They have their own companies. They are giving many IoT solutions for many top brand companies as well. So now we have such an IoT, Internet of Things, such an applications, but of course there are some challenges in IoT that we need to address. Researchers are working on it. So this is one such topic which the project, you can think on a project, or you can think on your research. So what are the challenges is, number one is the security. So I told you that you can access your machine remote. And I told you that you can access your TV. You can switch on your TV, off your TV. What if somebody sits in between you and your TV and hacks your account and send automatically he switch on all the lights of your home? So if your protocol is not secure, this is going to happen. And as I told you, all the data are stored in the cloud for storage and computation. So who holds the cloud, and who is having the data, who is viewing the data? All this you really need not, you really don't know. So what about the security? What about the integrity of the data? What if somebody changes the data? Really, your actuator is not going to work in that case. So really, the security is very high issue in company environment. And number two is the addressing scheme. I told you that small things are going to get, it's a unique identifier. In the first slide itself, if you remember, I told you all IoT should have an unique identifier, and all things are going to get that identifier. Now, already IP version 4, it cannot support the enormous growth of IoT, because I told you your glass is going to have, your cot is going to have, your watch is going to have, even in future your jewels are going to have. Maybe if somebody steal your jewel, automatically you can identify where is that person. So all these things are going to happen in future. Maybe in many countries it is implemented. In such cases, who is going to address that scheme? Who is going to really bother about, or who is going to really address that identification scheme? So yes, we have something called IP version 6. So IP version 6 is 128 bits. It's very enormous, and it's also secure too. It has many features incorporated into it. And now what happens here is the IP version 6 says even a single sand of the earth can get an IP address. So thankfully, the problem of addressing scheme is solved by IP version 6 to some extent. And the next one is we humans are inside the loop. For example, you say, I'm connected to a body sensor. So immediately there are sensors and actuators, medical sensors and actuators, which measures the temperature of your body. Now, what happens is, suppose my temperature is too high. There is an abnormal condition for me. My temperature is too high, my pulse is going down, or all these uncertain things happen for me. And when the data is sent from my smart wearable device to the doctor, it is actually spoofed. So what it says is temperature is normal, he is not abnormal. All those information goes to a doctor, and you may not be addressed in that case. So really it is a life-threatening situation. So how are we going to address the security issues? Really, it's a challenging job for us. And now the quality of service. We have machine learning, AI, all these algorithms. So how do we really rely on those algorithms? Those algorithms get trained, and then when we give a test object, they just give you the result. So whether the training is accurate, did you get 96% or 99% accuracy before implementing into an IoT application? So all these things really you have to bother when you consider an IoT application.